Okay, so thank you for the opportunity. I will present the work of our core team in Working Package 3 in ECHO. This is the content, design of cooperative network organization, transition planning and implementation, and conclusions for the next steps. So European landscape, as we understand it, is in the center, more or less, the institutional framework with the European Center of Competence in Bucharest, plus national cyber coordination centers in every member state. And we see that the European Defense Agency, European Space Agency, and the same on the national level. So these two areas are excluded from the focus of the network. And on the right side, what is to be developed is European Cyber Competence Community with elements from academia and industry. And of course, to focus on all these industry sectors. For ECHO, it is healthcare, energy, and maritime transport. So this is what we have as focus for analysis. What we developed is methodology that is in several main steps. So first step is to identify the most suitable governance model, starting with defining the criteria, prioritization of this criteria, developing a short list of alternatives based on analysis of the environment and possible solutions, analysis, assessment of alternatives, and comparison based on this analytical hierarchy process in order to select the most suitable alternative. So after this main stage, and it is presented on the screen, how does it work?
Belizar, I'm sorry to interrupt you. The slide is not changing, so we see the first slide actually.
Do you see the new slide now?
No.
Now?
No.
No.
Maybe you can escape your full screen mode for the moment and change the manner of sharing the screen. You selected a window, but you can select entire screen. And in this case, switching to the full screen mode will allow to see your presentation in full screen.
Okay, we'll try. So stop sharing. Now I will share again. Entire screen.
Right.
Is it seen now?
Please confirm that you start with the sharing. 2 clicks required. I mean, depending on the browser that you are using, it's necessary to select the entire screen and then a separate window, click to start sharing.
When I select a window, it gives me opportunity to select the window and to share it. Do you see it now?
Yes.
Does it change now?
It's still not full screen mode. Yes, we can maybe we can use this mode of presentation if it's technically reasonable.
So this is what I explained about the methodology with all these steps from A to F in order to select the most suitable alternative. And this is the result of the work, where we used 4 different alternatives with 3 main criteria to achieve the main goal of the effort, implementation of the governance model that will maximize the competitiveness of EU cyber products and services through support of research, networking activities, and partnering with ECHO network. So you see in this diagram on the right, what are the results of different alternatives. Actually, we used modification of this analytical hierarchical process in order to synthesize alternative 0, that is integrating all the positive elements of the 4 analyzed alternatives without contradiction. So selection was alternative 0 based on all the experience gained through the process of developing assessment and comparison of the 4 alternatives. The next stage of the process is when we have selected alternative and using this mission, vision, partners and other information to define the baseline, and on the baseline to start the design of the processes. It means identification of the processes, their analysis, and decision about the optimal structure of processes needed for the governance model to operate. Next step is organizational design, starting with responsibility, accountability, coordination and information matrix, and based on this matrix to define roles and responsibilities, to develop charters for all organizational elements, and even to set targets to them in order to achieve this final design of target operating model. So in order to support this process using the experience of working package 3, we developed a kind of catalog of services for governance consulting. And you see on the left side of the screen the list of services from evaluation of existing cooperative network organizations down to satisfaction assessment with all the steps supported with tools that I shortly presented as elements of our methodology. So for a specific case of ECHO, the model that was selected is to have a central hub, ECHO CH, to have national hubs in every nation, and to have service groups that are based on partners from cyber competence communities in different countries. And the service groups are actually the business elements of the network that are actually developing and delivering services, when the national hubs and central hub are interfaces with the European Cyber Competence Center and national competence centers in order to support the building of this cyber competence community and developing the business for the service groups. We decided to implement this specifically in Bulgaria, and the national hub that we are establishing right now is legally based on the Institute of Information Communication Technologies with one public administration entity, 2 industries, 2 institutes, 2 universities, and 1 non-governmental organization. And our first focus is really engaging National Coordination Center to develop a roadmap for growing this community, and on the other side to engage with external customers that could be interested of the services provided by the ECHO network. So when it comes to transition, because we are in this process, it is based on development steps for implementing this design. One of the key instruments is induction training on governance model in order to support the overall ADKAR process for awareness, decision, knowledge, abilities, and reinforcement, and respective tools. So these are the tools using focus groups, structured interviews, and with decision makers, structured interviews with other stakeholders, simulation games for the key processes. This is what we already implemented for this ECHO hub, national hub in Bulgaria. For the practical implementation, as I mentioned, we're using ADKAR model, and it is focused on developing better understanding and engaging with all the stakeholders in order to really agree on mission, vision, strategy, and practical implementation of the ECHO network elements in Bulgaria. And critical for this is, of course, a catalog of services. And the tools that are used for this implementation are similar as well. They are supporting the 5 critical steps of ADKAR model. And step by step, we are building better understanding, supporting critical decisions, developing knowledge and abilities of a large number of people, and with the final decision for registration and by law of National Hub, the measures for reinforcement will be implemented. Last is kind of a conclusion. So for the ECHO Cooperative Network Organization, as I mentioned, we went through this process of development of alternatives, selecting the most suitable one, designing the general model for governance, and detailed design of processes and organizational structure with the testing of implementation for one service group on governance consulting and one hub, national hub in Bulgaria. So on the right side, you see what is the key expertise of governance consulting services asset that is currently tested in this process. And we expect to have interest from other partners, first of all, to join governance consulting services, and further to develop the set of services and tools that are developed to support them, as well as to motivate other members of ECHO and other 3 projects, pilot projects, in order to start implementing these national hubs that will be kind of self-organizing, self-governance of cyber competence communities around the national coordination centers. And last but not least, we are very happy to have a close cooperation with Ukraine and North Macedonia, because we believe this model will be implemented in the partner nations to European Union in their preparation to join EU. So this is in short what we are working on, what are our services and tools, and I will be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Velizar, for your presentation. It's very interesting, I think, from the management perspective. And does anyone have a question to Velizar and his presentation? Okay, seems there are not many questions, so I'll ask from my side. As far as I understand, there is like, to analyze the organizational network and collaboration, there is a specific thing like organizational network analysis, which is used as a tool to measure graph connections and patterns of collaboration between people, between organizations. And it can be used to amplify people analytics, make data-driven decisions, to drive innovation or execute strategy. And so my question in this direction will be, which metrics can be used to assess quality of collaborative network organization management and let's say quality of consulting as well? Thanks.
Actually, what was not included in the presentation is this element of audit. We have one of the tasks that is focusing on internal audit and assessment of maturity. We are doing this through the process of demonstration cases in ECHO project in order to assess, as you mentioned, using the CMMI model, the level of maturity of designed processes and designed organizational elements on one side, and the other approach for answering your question is the effort of other group of people that are dealing with exploitation strategy and assessing from business perspective the established network productivity and sustainability in long run based on market analysis and contribution through our catalog of services and our marketplace. But it is not part of our work. It is other team working on this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Velizar. And I'd like to invite for the next presentation with the title Design Science Research Towards Eco Governance and Management Information System.